Test.
Test.
For the first time in over a year, ECRL TV is back. And we are back here in Miami, Florida for round number 8 of the ECRL Formula X season. We're picking it up here in the middle of Q2. 14 drivers in the race weekend this weekend, so we didn't lose anyone out of Q1. And so far, Rod Montero, who's third place in the championship, has put up a blistering 126.3. Rod showing that great qualifying single lap pace all season, only walking away with 1 win so far in the first 8 rounds. Momster, as always, is at the top of the board as well, but still a half second behind him. We're hopping on right now with Atlanta Fan, who is making his Formula X debut. They pried him out of NASCAR, and he has exchanged his number 47 for a British green Aston Martin this Monday night. We're going to see how he concludes the lap here. Doesn't improve. He's up by a half second, but it's to be expected. It is hard to get your head wrapped around these Formula One cars. Trust me, I know. We're going to hop on to Coquito, who's leaving the pit lane. He has been a good rear runner for Arnie the Goat, who is right now atop of the leaderboard. He is not atop of the leaderboard. I believe he's in second. Let me pull up the points. Let's go to this confusing ass Discord. Yeah, Arnie's second in the points, 3 behind Momster, so virtually tied here at just about the halfway point of the season. So Arnie putting his first flyer lap here in Q2 as he gets into turn 6, gets around that tight swimming pool section, then hammer onto the throttle, get as close to the wall as you can. As close to that wall as you can. Cut the chicane. Get a nice wide entry into the back stretch. Hammer on the throttle. Drain that ERS. And he is putting up a flyer. This is definitely going to be at the top half of the charts here. Hits that hard braking zone. Get over. Just get on the curb. Get a wide exit. Hammer down the throttle for the start-finish straight. That's going to put him in mighty tidy shape, and he will be P4. P4 for Arnie, who is battling Momster for that top spot. Formula Wix putting in a decent lap. Wix still in the hunt for that first ECRL win. He doesn't have a podium yet this year either, but Wix's time's coming. My hot take at the beginning of the year was he was going to get a win this year, and I still think that is the case. Let's take a look at who is doing some hot laps again now. Marijuanizer looking like he may be starting a hot lap. Marijuanizer in his first year with the Kick Sauber team, Ferrari. And we'll be wearing Audi red next year with the new regs, the new game, the new liveries, the new teams. And he'll hammer on the ERS, and he's going to start a flyer here. Gets the DRS down and heads down towards turn 1. Slams on the brakes. Gets a little bit of a lockup. Hits that apex nicely. Neat and tidy through the first sections of corners, gets through those, heads towards those S's into turn 5, 6, and 7. Just a little bit of lift there. Downshift into 6, gets all that curb. You got to get all that curb for that. And goes wide. Is that going to invalidate him? I'm not sure. I don't know how the track limits are on that outside corner there. He's going to keep carrying on, and he's carrying on as if his lap didn't get invalidated, so we'll assume it's legit. Gets nice and close to the wall. Big, hard braking zone into that slow swimming pool section. Gets it, hits the apex nicely, and now quick upshift. You want to carry as much speed as you can through there, and then quickly rifle down. Get as close to that wall as you can. Hit that apex, plus the subsequent apex, and then once again down the start-finish stretch. He's a second up on his previous lap of a 128, so he's looking to make some moves here. This might get him into the top 5 here if he carries on with it. Ooh, yeah, that's nice. Oh, gets a little bit of oversteer, gets a little bit of wheel spin. And he's going to hit the cross start finish line. P7. An improvement of 0.6. He was a second up going into the backstretch, but that final series of corners proved to be troublesome for him. We're now going to head into DJ on the beat. He is 0.4 up on his previous lap, and he is in the elimination zone, and he goes up to 10th, so he's still on the cusp as JCI is about to start a lap here. Starting a lap or finishing lap? It's hard to tell. But once again, welcome back to ECRL TV. I'm Uno Senko Korea Nayat here, coming at you on a Monday night here. And we'll ride on board JC114. He is now in the elimination zone. He has definitely shown some speed, has definitely put in some decent numbers in Formula 2 and driving the pink V-carb. Looking pretty good going into the right there. Ooh, a nice entrance into that high speed double right-hander. Keeps it on track. Heads down the start-finish straight. Not the start-finish straight. He's heading into the swimming pool section. Oh. Gets really close to that wall. Looks like he had a slow entrance into the start finish straight. To see, it looks like he's having a little bit of trouble. He's still 0.2 up. That would put him clear of DJ on the beat if he carries on, finds a little bit more time in the last sequence of corners here. That actually looked really good coming into the start finish straight. Oh, yeah. Where does he finish? Yeah, P10. So DJ on the beat is on the cusp. No clue how much time is actually left in the session here. DJ is going to have to quickly carry on and try to get another hot lap in. Going on to the PPC owner, who has lost Rod Montero. Losing Rod Montero and Uno Cinco in the same calendar year is not a good look. But we'll go to the team owner here, who's right now P12. Ooh, little shaky going through there. Got a little too much of that curb. Kind of shaky going into that sequence of chicanes. And now he's going to see what he can do. He's a 2.5 up on his previous laps, which would put him still at not much of an improvement. DJ on the beat is clear him by over 2 seconds. We'll take a look here as the checkered flag waves. DJ wasn't able to get a lap in, so he's going to be eliminated. Atlanta fan in his debut race is going to be eliminated here in Q2. Puck, not much of an improvement on top of DJ. 2 seconds up on the lap, but that's not going to be good enough. Axeletti, as we click on, he goes to past the start-finish straight line, and he secures P5. Binky just scampers in P10 to go through Q3 as he hits the wall. Well, that won't matter. He's going to cross the finish line just so we can get on with Q3. And we say goodbye to DJ, JC, Puck, and Atlanta fan here in Miami. Well, we'll be back with Q3 here on ECRL TV. Fourteen drivers started off, 10 remain here in Q3 here in Miami at the ECRL Formula X Miami Grand Prix. 12 minutes to set the fastest lap. That will set the grid for the top 10 here. And they all immediately leave the pit lane. Riding on with Coquito. Looking at the track map, let's see who's going to set their hot lap first. Everyone going down on fresh rubber. So looking here, it looks like Binky's going to be not the first one. Marijuanizer is going to be the first one to set a flyer here. He'll be followed closely by Arnie. Arnie, I'm sure, will try to get as much of a slipstream as he can as he claws his way to the top of the leaderboard here. 3 points separating him and Momster. But as I mentioned in Q2, Rod Montero, Red Bull driver now. Last race in Spa, he was wearing the papaya of... No, he was wearing Aston Martin green. But in a shocking announcement just a few moments ago, Rod Montero now drives for Bull Moose, the Red Bull affiliate. So, as the paddock is shocked, they're all going to start taking their laps here as we will ride on with Arnie to watch him set his first hot lap. Once again, you don't want to get too close to that guy in front of you just in case he makes a mistake. But you want to be close enough where you get a little bit of slipstream. As Arnie heads to the start-finish straight and starts his lap, gets on that ERS, gets on the DRS, he's going to hit that indicative braking point, which is just before the 100-meter board, and then turns 2 and 3. You want to get as close to the on top of those curves as much as you can. Turn 5 and 6, relatively high speed. Take 5 in 7, 6 at 6th gear, and then going into turn 7, that long right-hander. You want to say keep as much speed as you can, but you got to keep it on track. You don't want an invalidation, especially here in Q3. Arnie goes down the start-finish straight, heading towards turn 11. Right before the 100-meter board, we're going to hit those brakes. We're going to get it down into 3rd gear, and then go past the swimming pool section. You want to keep as much mid-corner speed as you can through that section. That's why you want to keep it into 3rd, and then get as close to those walls as you can. I've mentioned it before, keeping it in 3rd. Clip as much of those curves as you can, and then boom. The exit out of that chicane can make or break your lap because this is a long straight. And if you're shaky, you lose a lot of speed, you lose a lot of time. And he's also benefiting that slipstream we're seeing from Marijuanizer here. And then boom, 100-meter board, gets on the brakes, hits the inside curb, and then darts towards the finish line here Arnie's going to definitely set a flyer. Is he going to get to the 26s? No, just misses. A 127.0 for Arnie. We've seen better in qualifying so far for lap times, and we just saw a really good lap time once again from Rod Montero. A 10th slower than the lap time he set back in Q1 of that 26.3, but Rod Montero in a new car, the same old Rod. Wicks, a 126.7. I'm telling you, do not sleep on Formula Wicks. Do not sleep on Formula Wicks. He's always out there on his own. Has a teammate that's sleeping in France somewhere eating croissants. But Formula Wicks is not someone to be taken lightly. And he is going to be a race winner in this series. Mark my words. Coquito right behind him, a 126.9. Arnie, 127.0. We saw that. Binky, a 127.5. And not far behind him, a 100th off his Marijuanizer. And I don't know who this is. YRB12 fan. But he sets a 127.6. Axeletti, the Canadian, he's about to start a flyer. Key thing here that you're gonna see is you want to get the tires on your out lap here. You want to get them as warm as you can, but if you overheat them, as your hot lap pursues, your tires will get too hot and you'll lose a lot of grip, especially in that tight chicane section that you saw and in this last corner here, which has been known to be tricky. You know, we use racing lines in this series all the time, but they're not always accurate, and you're gonna see a lot of drivers braking way before that racing line turns full red. You're going to see them start to brake when it's yellow or blue if you use the colorblind racing line. I do. I'm not colorblind, but Axeletti's going to take another out lap here. We'll see who we can hop on board with. We'll take a look at Lucas here as he is heading towards turn number 6, and that's going to be an invalidation. I wonder if this is yeah, this is his lap. I missed his whole hot lap. What's Binky up to? Looks like Binky's setting, Binky's previous lap there was a 155, which makes me think that wasn't a hot lap, but he's also not using his ERS. Is he? Yeah, maybe he is on a hot lap. That works. And he's heading down to turn 6 and 7. Binky having a... Binky kind of shaky through this section. He's 600ths up. I wonder if we're going to see him. I wonder if we're going to see him bail on this lap and try to take another set of sauce and do one more flyer. 4 minutes 50 seconds left here in Q3. So if he boxes now, he'll have time to put some fresh rubber on and get one final flyer in there. Axeletti's on that second out lap. Yeah, it'll probably be on the YouTube channel. I just don't think ECRL has a Twitch yet. And I just haven't made one. It's not mine to make. It's not my intellectual property. But Axeletti hasn't set a decent flyer yet here in Miami in Q3. And I don't know what he's doing either. Still not sure if he wants to set one, I guess. I wonder if he is on AI. Who knows? But as he does whatever he's doing, we have Arnie and Coquito on their out laps, looking to get to the top of the charts. Looking to get on the top of the timing table. Coquito and Arnie are not near each other on track. Usually they do help each other out with the slipstream, especially when the championship's so close and the timing is so close. I mean, him, Momster, and Rod all season have been 1, 2, 3 within tenths of each other. As Arnie looks to get those tires heated up, that's Coquito, not Arnie. As Coquito looks to get those tires heated up, he will head down to the last corner with 3 minutes left here in qualifying. Traffic looks pretty clear for him, so he should be able to get a decent lap in here. Is this another double out lap? And I just continue to be edged with these hot laps. Arnie the GOAT. And Arnie the GOAT's going to do a hot lap here, and here we go. Most important lap of the day for him so far with 2 minutes left here in qualifying. Gets into turn 1, gets a little bit of understeer there, but gets into turn 2 and 3 very nicely. Right on the curbs, and he's heading down to turn 5, turn 6 and 7. Oh, lovely, great. Just a little bit of coast there. Keeps it in 7th, goes into 6th. Into 5th, into the double left-hander of turn 11, and it hits down towards the swimming pool section, into turn 11. Once again, if you can brake later, you can find a little bit of time, but you gotta get to you want to get into turn 11 perfectly so you can get into the nice swimming pool section. Keep that mid-corner speed as close to the wall as you can, as close to that wall as you can. Take it wide. You want to be right up against that next wall. Perfect. This is going to be a screamer of a lap for Arnie. He is a 10th up on his lap of 1:27.0. He's going to have to find a little bit of time if he wants to get into that top 3. If he wants to get into that first row, is he going to be able to find the time? We'll find out here in Miami. Hits that apex nicely, gets a lot of curb there, hammers onto the throttle, gets the ERS down, opens the DRS right now, and he will be in the second row. P3 for Arnie. He found that lap time he lost in the first run. That last corner, he found almost 3/10. A banger of a lap, a screamer of a lap for Arnie. Let's hop on to his teammate Coquito. He's coming down into turn 7. And goes into the first DRS straight, or second if you count the start-finish line as the first. He's heading towards the swimming pool, but he ain't going swimming. He's going driving. He's going racing. His teammate needs him. His teammate needs him. Is he going to be able to find that lap time to be right up there with Arnie, to be his rear gunner, to be the trusty second seat driver that Momsters come to know and love? But that love has been turned into hate as Coquito moves to France, takes the pink, and drives her Alpine. I can't see what his delta is. I lost it when it switched sectors, but he's going to head down to that final corner. You can find a lot of time here. Most of the lap's done, but not all the time has been found. Hammers down on the throttle. What do we got here? Oh, and he's P4. He shares the second row with Arnie so far, as he's a provisional P4. Let's go to Wicks. Don't sleep on Wicks. Ooh, a little shaky coming through that swimming pool section. He's gonna go to the back stretch here. He's up 8/10. I kind of could tell. I don't know if he's gonna find that lap time. Momster, a 1:26.4. How the fuck did I miss that? Excuse my language, folks. This is not a family show. And it looks like Rod has set his lap. Momster has not set his lap, but Momster's locked into pole. And for some reason, I didn't watch one of his laps. Momster takes pole position. And the person at the top of the standings is at top of the timing sheet and takes pole position here. Lucas actually might have something to answer for that. He crosses the line. Where does he finish? Where does he finish? P3! Coquito gets moved down to 5th, Arnie down to 4th, Lucas in the Scarlet Ferrari takes P3 and will be on the 2nd row, right behind Momster, here at the Miami Formula X Grand Prix, presented by the ECRL. An exciting qualifying. Momster takes pole, Rod right behind him. Rod has a lot of ground to make up in the standings. He's about 37 points out of first, but there's plenty of time and plenty of things that can happen. Lucas P3, Arnie P4, Coquito P5, Wicks P6, Eddie P7, Marijuanizer P8, Binky P9, YRB 12 fan P10. We'll go to the grid right after this here on ECRL TV. Thanks, Ted. And as we go to the grid here, no formation lap. We get right into the racing here. Rod and Momster, P1 and P2. Let me know if you heard that before. Arnie's going to have to make some moves. He is in P4. He'll be behind that series. He'll be behind Lucas and Momster on the clean side of the grid. And there's definitely going to be some fireworks here. Turn 1 in Miami. And in this league, any turn 1 that's a slow, heavy braking zone into turn 1 can be chaotic. And we've seen that many a times before. Here we go. 5 lights on. The lights are out. The clutch is dropped. The cars are off. And Momster gets a really good start here in Miami. As they head down towards turn 1, Rod takes a look on the inside. Momster holds him off. Rod loses some ground. Lucas is right on his gearbox. Momster comes into turn 2 and 3. Momster hangs on to the lead, but Rod is right behind him. Great start by Momster. Shaky start by Rod, but Rod's definitely made up some ground. Coquito and Arnie have fallen down P5 and 6 as Wicks found some ground from P6. He's taking a look on the inside of Lucas. Lucas tries to hold on to P3, and he does. And Wicks is right on his gearbox as well, followed by Coquito and Arnie. Momster and Rod still P1 and 2. Rod right there, and Rod goes into the inside. Rod goes in the inside, heads towards the swimming pool section. Momster goes wide, but did Rod leave him enough room? I don't know. We'll take a look at that probably later in the steward's room. A lightning first lap, and we're not even done it yet. Momster gets a little shaky into the swimming pool section. Now Lucas is right on Momster. Lucas hits the wall. Lucas might have some tire damage after that one. And there's another car in the wall. Brutus has hit the wall. No, that was PRL fan. YRP 12 fan. A hectic first lap here in Miami as Rod takes the lead. Rod, Momster, Lucas, Wicks, Coquito is your top 5. Arnie not far behind. The entirety of the top 8, entirety of the top 10, the whole field's in DRS range as DRS is activated in the after the first lap. The DRS detection point's going to be after turn 11. Now it's up to Momster to find some time. Let's take a look and see, let's get some telemetry data, lap data, detail, position change. We're gonna go. What do we want? I want laps. We're gonna go position change, leader. I want fastest lap. No. There we go. I'm now all tidy. Momster saving the ERS. He's in none. He's charging. He wants to have all that battery for the backstretch here as they head towards the chicanes into turns 16 and 17. And here we go. DRS as they head down towards the final corner, turn 17. The DRS is active. He's got the ERS going. Rod somehow pulling away. Rod's also probably has saved up quite a bit of battery. They hit down there, both hits. Oh, Rod goes a little wide. Rod, gets really close to the wall. Momster made up about 2/10 in that final corner as they head towards the finish line and they start lap 3. Going back down to turn 1. Rod gets a lot of curb. Gets a little bit of a slide there. Momster, gets a slide out of turn 2. Rod slides turn 1. Momster slides turn 2. Half second separates them. Momster saving that battery. No ERS deployment used at all through these first sequence of corners. And now it's that nice double left-hander, double apex, and they're going to hammer on. And Momster's going to hit the ERS. He's going to hit the DRS, and he's going to try to catch Rod Montero here at lap 3 of Miami. Makes up a little bit of time here. Rod looks like he's been struggling. Last couple this lap he's done a lot of sliding. Momster's cut down the lead to only about 4/10. Ooh, Momster has a snap of oversteer. And here we go. Rod gets a great exit out of that. Rod gets a great exit out of turn 16. Momster's gonna have to make up some ground to stay into DRS. He's draining that battery. Now he's recharging as he hits the DRS. And they go into the final corner right there. Momster gets a little bit of understeer. He misses the apex. You want to be on that curb at that last turn. And here they go down towards the start-finish line. Oh boy, this league. Lucas is joining the party behind them. I have a bad habit of just staying in TV pod cam. But don't look now, but Arnie and Coquito have made up some places on taking those places back from Wicks. Arnie in the championship hunt, 3 points separate him and Momster. Momster 4/10 down on Rod. That's been the average gap between these two drivers. Momster had pole. He had the lead up until turn 11 of lap 1, and then Rod took it, and he hasn't looked back so far. Let's take a look at the tires. You've got almost everyone starting on the mediums. Arnie and YRB fan starting on the hards. When you start on the hards, it's always going to be a risk because a circuit like this draws its fair share of safety cars. There was 2 safety cars last year in ECRL, 1 in the URA, a hectic one in the URA. There was a game glitch. Expect those medium runners to pit lap 13. Your crossover between medium and hard is going to be about lap 5. As we are in lap 4, you are going to see Arnie start to lap a little quicker than the 4 drivers in front of him. And the intervals have stayed static so far. Momster about 4/10 off of Rod. Lucas 8/10 off Lucas. Coquito and Arnie right up on the gearbox of the Ferrari. Coquito coming into turn 6, 7, 8, coming through turn 11, looking to make up some places along with Arnie. Team orders are against the rules. Should remind everyone that. As Coquito hits the DRS, trying to gain some ground on the Ferrari, but there is quite the DRS train from places 1 through 7, and then V-Carb of JCI just haven't been able to keep up with that front pack. Let's take a look at our old pal Momster in the McLaren, and his former associate who used to be in the Aston Martin, and Lucas finding that wall again. His car's not going to be able to keep up with that banging. You're going to see a higher, you'll see, if you keep hitting the wall hard enough, those tires on the right side will degrade faster. As they come out of turn 17, Momster once again gets a nice, neat, tidy exit coming towards the start finish straight. And once again, 4/10 is the gap. You can't really see what everyone's lap times are, but they are close to identical, I'm sure, just because of how the intervals are. And Lucas is also making up a little bit of ground on Momster. We have a yellow flag, and it looks like there's an Aston Martin off. I believe it's Atlanta fan, and it is. Atlanta fan has hit the wall. Didn't see what happened. He's going to pit, try to get either a new wing or call it quits here at his debut. And, oh, we have an overtake. We have some action going on here. They're going side by side here. They're going side by side into the first DRS zone. Lucas and Arnie. Coquito already got by. Arnie got by. Lucas can't keep up. And the Alpines now take third and fourth, where they qualified provisionally until Lucas at the 11th hour took P3 in qualifying. And as I mentioned before, those hards are now starting to light up and lap a little faster than the mediums. The gas light's on for Arnie, which means he underfueled. As the race goes on, the fuel gap tends to go down, and you end up in the surplus as the race goes on. Mobster's fallen out of DRS range on Rod in lap 6, so he probably had a shaky lap. Rod probably found a little bit of pace. And Mobster is going to have to put his head down and try to get some hot laps in and cut down that lap that is ever growing. The gap, 1.5. Well, it looks like there might be a chance of rain here in Miami, which is always expected. Additionally, the tire saving info I read to you a few laps ago was the wrong track. That was Singapore. The crossover from mediums to hards are actually lap 4. So Arnie is on the ideal fastest tire. And Arnie now is 0.6 away from Mobster. He has found a lot of pace, and those hards have lit up quite nicely. And Arnie is now on the gearbox of Mobster as they head into turn 11 into the swimming pool section. Mobster saving. He does have more ERS deployment at his hand, so Arnie's going to have to... Oh, Mobster's struggling mightily on those mediums. Mobster gets a shaky exit out of those previous 2 corners, and now here comes Arnie. Arnie hammers onto the DRS. The DRS is about to open, and here we go. Mobster tries to break the ship seam, and Arnie passes Mobster, and now he has a provisional championship lead. Arnie the goat in the Alpine on those hard tires that have lit up, and now makes the charge for Rod Montero. Some handy driving from Arnie. Now Mobster's going to try to stay into the DRS and the slipstream to stay close to Arnie. It's lap 8. The pit window opens at lap 12 here in Miami for those medium runners. Hard runners, you're going to see the pit window go from lap 15 to 17, and that's barring a pending safety car. Atlanta fan has come back out on the mediums. And Mobster continues to tumble down the timing sheet, struggling to stay in Arnie's DRS range, and it's been quite the struggle for Mobster. The gap's 2 seconds between Rod and Arnie as Rod Montero, who took the lead in the lap at turn 14 of lap 1 and hasn't looked back. A great season, a polar opposite season for what he had last year. With only 1 win so far to his name, according to the standings I see. He's also lit up the timing sheets in the URA. Whoo! I'm losing my voice already, shit. So with some impending rain coming here, it looks like the clouds are starting to set in. And I see some raindrops here. Oh boy, here we go. Now it's decision time for the pit walls. It comes down to who is going to blink first. Miami, a relatively long racetrack. 29 laps here. If you pit a lap too late, that 1 lap may cost you the race. It is raining here at turn 11. Rod heading to turn 14. Let's see how neat and tidy the braking zones can be. You can see the field spread out. Not many drivers in DRS range. None of them are in the top 4. Lucas is in the DRS range in P5 if DRS is still active. Once it gets wet, they do turn off DRS here. That's usually, for some drivers, an indicator that it's time to switch onto the inters. Some go onto the wets. Axel Eddy has lost a position to Lucas. And Lucas and Eddie, and looks like Wicks. Looks like everyone's starting to fishtail a little bit. Let's see who's going to blink first. Oh, there's a car off. There's a car off. Who is it? It is the Mercedes. Had a little bit of a moment with his hards. As we come towards the pit entry, we'll see who's going to pit first. Is Rod going to go in? Yes, Rod's going in. Arnie follows. So does Momster. They're all going in. Coquito goes in. He's going to have to make somewhat of a gap so he doesn't lose too much time as him and Arnie double stack. Lucas into the pits. They're all going into the pits. Does anyone try to play hero? They better not. I'm their boss. Who's going to stay out? Formula Wix. It's Nope, Formula Wix doesn't stay out. Brutus tries to play hero here. With a very wet racetrack, Binky tries to play hero here in my car that he doesn't have to pay for. Now let's watch the gaps. Coquito on Brutus. Still it's still a static interval here. Coquito's now finding time as the inters start to light up. And yeah, the inters are the fastest tire. It's a whole new race now. Rod Montero on the inters, followed closely by Arnie. If the race were to end right now, Arnie would be the championship leader. But Rod would carve into that gap. As they come around to turn 12, into the chicanes of 13, 14, and then now into turn 16. Arnie losing a little bit of time to Rod. That hard tire advantage he had is gone now that they're all on inters. Momster behind Arnie, trying to regain that P2 position. Brutus and Binky tumbling down the order. Staying on the mediums wasn't the move. As the track gets wetter, your driving style has to change. Yeah, can't slam on the brakes. You got to feather the brakes. You can't go directly from 0% to 100% brake. If you don't use ABS, you gotta go. You have to pump them. You have to go 70 back, 80 back, 100% back. You got to be gentle on the throttle. Get your quick shifts up. Be very diligent, very intentional on how you're laying down that throttle and quick shifting to maintain that traction. And if you lay down too much throttle, put too much power, your wheels go spinning and your car goes flying and your race is over. That is the level of jeopardy you have as this Miami track gets wetter. The dry lines are starting to dry up, and Arnie gets a little bit of a slide there. He's going to lose a little bit of time there to Rod. Loses only about a tenth. Momster tumbling, falling back behind 2 seconds is the gap. Coquito probably got held up in that pit stop with Arnie, but double stacking was the move. You saw what happened to Brutus and Binky. You had to pit when everyone else did, and that cost them some time waiting for Arnie to leave the pits. Arnie slamming on those brakes. That's definitely an ABS user if I've ever seen one before. But the traction, you see, if you look at his telemetry, you're not full throttle at the same point that you would be on a dry track. So right there, you see, as I was saying there, on a wet track, you see Momster's telematics at the bottom here, that green bar. You take these corners just about flat out, but you can't in the rain. You see Momster's shifts are a lot quicker going through that sequence there to just maintain that traction in the wet. And then you see he's going to go into the braking zone here, and oh, there's a car off. That is Atlanta fan. Atlanta fan struggling, but this is not an ideal situation for your first race. But going back to what I was talking about, look at Momster's braking. He's not going to go slam down to the 100% and then trail off. It's a very gradual stomping, pumping of the brakes. I'm sorry for that. I was pumping my brake to get the car stopped. And then, you know, you hitting the apex. Usually at a some drivers will, in wet conditions, go to a lower gear than they typically would. Some would stay higher to ensure that there's no wheel slip. And Momster's actually carving into that lead that Arnie has on him. It was around 2 seconds. Now it's gone back down to 1.9. But on a wet racetrack, it's a whole new race. It's a whole new style of driving. No DRS. You still do have ERS, and you actually use it more often because the battery does charge because of your braking and throttle patterns. There is another yellow flag. Can't see where it is. Oh, it's Atlanta fan. Poor guy. Keep at it, Atlanta fan. You got this. 2 seconds now, the lead that Rod has on the field. Let's take a look at our midfield. Marijuanizer, who actually is pretty decent in the rain, chasing down DJ on the beat of his sister team Scuderia Ferrari. As they head into turn, I don't know, where are we on the track? That was turn 1. DJ, another non-traction control user. Zero ABS, pure racing if you ask me. And Marijuanizer's cutting down that gap into DJ. DJ gets a little too much curb here. And that's another thing with these wet weather conditions. The curbs become so much more slippery than they are on a dry track. And you kind of have to stay off them. And in Miami, you have to take a lot of these curbs in the rain. If you take too much of it, you go flying. Marijuanizer cutting down that lead down to 5/10. JC with a penalty is not far behind him. And going down into turn, there's a little bit of wall there. I heard a little bit of wall crunching. And DJ and Marijuanizer come through the swimming pool section into turns 15 and 16. Ooh, hits the wall. Got to be careful. That's my car. And ooh, great exit. Oh, he gained a lot. He's right on his gearbox now. The gap only 4/10 and shrinking as they get into the backstretch. Does Marijuanizer have enough juice to make a pass on DJ on the beat? It's a heavy braking zone in wet conditions. What's going to happen here at the end of the straight here? Here comes Marijuanizer. DJ trying to hold him off. They go into the turning ring and ooh! Marijuanizer says, we'll have a look. We'll have a look, but doesn't go for it as DJ holds him off. JC right behind him. JC trying to go to the outside of Marijuanizer. Marijuanizer holds him off. DJ holding them both off. Marijuanizer heading down to turn 1. He's going to try to pass him on the outside. Takes a look, doesn't. But JC gets into the middle. He goes inside Marijuanizer. Marijuanizer tries to take it back on turn 3. Turn 3 comes. JCI takes the lead. Cuts ahead of Marijuanizer for P9. A great battle. Here comes YRB fan with QRL Brutus 4 seconds behind him. Marijuanizer trying to keep himself gathered here. He was gaining on DJ, but oh no, we have a retirement. It's Puck, whatever. But we'll be back to the real race car drivers as Marijuanizer is trying to retake the 9th place from JCI. Points do go down to 12th place in the ECRL. Marijuanas are coming into the swimming pool section, into turn 11, around turn 12. A little bit of wiggle from everyone. That's to be expected. You got to try to get through that sequence of corners. Someone hit a wall there. JC's having a little bit of trouble. As we hop on a YRB fan. Now JCI's trying to have a crack at it with DJ on the beat. He's out of ERS. DJ on the beat has a little more than he does, so if he's going to pass him, it's probably going to have to be either with a risky dive down the inside, which is not wise, and he's not going to do that. A mistake by DJ, which doesn't look like it's going to happen, as DJ comes around turn 17 and 18 very tidily into the final turn before the finish line. And DJ has held off the pack very well. DJ on the beat replaces Uno Cinco mid-season. Uno Cinco, a man of honor, a man of integrity, says, I don't have it anymore. Looked at the young DJ on the beat from, I don't know what country he's from, and says, you take the keys. And DJ has performed so well, and he's done so well here in wet conditions here in Miami. Not an easy racetrack to race in the dry, never mind the wet. And he has defended his P8 quite well as they come into what would be the first DRS straight here in Miami, gunning towards turn 11. 3/10 the gap between JCI and DJ. JC looking like he doesn't use traction control either. I like that. And he actually makes up a little bit of ground on DJ as they head towards turns 14, 15, 16. Oh, he's right there. He's got ERS. They are dead even on ERS. Let's see how they do on this with a straight line speed. It looks like DJ's harvesting a little bit, and JC's not going to have a choice but to harvest because he has none left. Let's see if anyone gets cheeky down the final turn 17 braking zone here. And oh, he's going to make a move. He's going to make a move. He's going to make a move to the outside. DJ takes it on the inside. And he goes wide. DJ comes through, hangs on to that P8. And it looks like we have some wing damage here from JC. I don't know if they touched. I didn't see it. I switched to the cinematic camera. Let's take a look see here and see if they change his wing. DJ, decent job at defending. He's gonna put on the full rets. His race is over. Anyway, I kid, but when you put on the full wets, it never works. In this game, the way it's coded, just like real life F1, the wet weather tires don't work. You're not as fast. There does look to be a dry line. The game's coded to have a dry line. And those inters almost always are the fastest tire, whatever the in-game engineer mark says. YRB12 fan, who is making his Formula X debut now, is on Marijuanizer. And he's going to have a look here. Going out of turn 14 into the swimming pool section of turn 12. That was turn 11, not 14. Marijuanizer clips the wall again. And oh, Brutus is going to have a look on his teammate. I didn't even pay attention. I didn't think he was going to fight him, but he is. They're fighting each other, and that gives Marijuanizer some breathing room. QRL Brutus and YRB fan are going to fight. It's Hamilton and Rosberg in 2016 all over again. And oh, a little bit of a slide there from YRB12 fan. Brutus stays right on his gearbox as they head towards the finish line as they start their lap 17. Ooh. So these Inter-runners have, most of them, with the exception of Brutus and Binky, have been on these tires since lap 17. I don't have tire data on the Inters. However, it does seem like asking 19... they touch! They are brawling out in Mercedes. Holy schmoly, he's definitely going to call him into his office after this. I was going to get into a spiel about Inters, but the Mercedes drivers just aren't behaving themselves. This is Formula X. No team orders in this league. And YRB fan has now found some pace and now is right on the gearbox of Marijuanizer. They're gunning down towards turn 11. Does he make a move? Does he have a look? No. Marijuanizer still stays ahead. He wasn't going to try a move there, but as the sequence of corners of 14, 15, and 16 that we're adding into now, you can find a lot of time. And that exit out of turn 16 can find you enough pace to do an overtake or set yourself up for a move at the last corner in turn 17. The gap is dwindling. It's down to 5/10. locks up there a little bit. Didn't have enough pace there to make a move on Marijuanizer. And Marijuanizer's got a box. I wonder if he's going to go to the wets. I know in the Ferrari Kick Sauber engineering meeting, they do frown upon using the wets, Marijuanizer. But hey, what does that team boss know? Let's take a look. Formula Wix, just a second ago, was over a second behind Lucas. Now he's found some pace, or Lucas has struggled a bit in lap 18. Those inters are starting to get a little bit worn. Formula Wix getting off the dry line to cool down those tires. If you cool down the tires, you can get a lot more life out of them. As I was saying before, I was starting to say before, 19 laps on these inters is a heavy task to ask of them. Do I believe it can be done? Yes. But it takes quite a bit of tire management. It takes getting off of the dry line, off the racing line, into where it is more wet, where the cars aren't. It will cool down your tires, and you will get more life and more speed out of your tires. As Lucas takes off from Formula Wix, 7/10 the gap still. And they are going down the start-finish straight. Wix not getting too cheeky, not making any moves. So far, you really got to be right on the gearbox, and you really got to be sure of yourself to make a move in these wet conditions, especially in Miami, where the walls it's a street circuit, so the walls just come so close to the track. Marijuanizer did stay on the inters like a good boy. Now, one thing that's important is let's take a look at Marijuanizer's lap times and the interval between him and the leader to see if there's any time to be found going to a new set of inters. There always is, but let's see how much it would be. We'll toggle that up. Wix losing a little bit of time to Lucas, but he's actually right on his gearbox. And if you see, Rod Montero is a very talented driver. So is Marijuanizer, but the talent of Rod Montero trumps Marijuanizer. So Rod's always going to be a faster driver. However, if you look at the interval, if you look at the time difference there, it was about 107.5. The gap between the leader and Marijuanizer on those new inters have now cut that down by a second. I'm now curious to see, with 9 laps to go, you lose about 18.5 seconds on a pit stop here in Miami. With 9 laps to go, is it worth taking the risk for some of these runners? It is probably too late in the race for Arnie, for example, to try to make a move. He would come out either just ahead of Coquito or behind him. No team orders here, but I don't think Coquito would fight him if he were to go on to those new inters. So it may be worth a gamble, but he would have to find 2 seconds a lap plus in order to make the gap decent enough to make a move for the lead. All right, let's go back to the intervals. What's happening here? DJ was under attack by both the Mercedes and Formula Wix, and he held them off, and now that gap is at 1.7 seconds. Those two Mercedes boys, they are fighting like crazy. I love it. You can see them going around turn 11. Is that 11? I always get turn 11. That's turn 7. Turn 7. QRL Brew's going to take a look on the inside of YRB fan to no avail. Loses a little bit of time there. And now he's fallen about a second off. Let's go back to Wix. Do not sleep on Wix ever. In P6, behind Lucas. Lucas holding off Wix valiantly as Lucas gets off of the dry line, trying to keep those tires neat and tidy. And now, anyone who hasn't pitted for new inters, which no one has, are going to be using those inters till the end, because at this point, unless the tire deg's really high, which I can't see tire deg, I need to get a PC so I can. Unless your tire deg's so high that you're on the brink of a puncture, you're not going to pit. Oh. Well, tail of the tape here at the championship, you have Arnie had a monster. Arnie in P3? No, P2. Monster in P3. If the race were to stay as it is, they would be tied at the top for the championship, and then Rod would carve 7 points into that. Rod was at 163. That will put him at 170. Momster would go from 220 to 237, and Arnie would go from 217 to 237. So still a big gap for Rod, but if Rod keeps running like this and stays clean, doesn't get into incidents, doesn't get time penalties, he will indeed be able to make a decent fight for that championship, as we are on 22 of 29 here in Miami at the Formula X Miami Grand Prix. We'll take a look at Marijuanizer, who is going to easily pass JCI eventually. The wets aren't ever the fastest tire to go. As you can see, the two wet runners are at the bottom of the timing sheet here. But he's not going without a fight, as Marijuanizer comes around to turn 15 and 16. Right on the gearbox of JC. He's going to make a move. He's going to try to pass him. He should be able to pass him quite easily at this backstretch here. He's got plenty of battery to do so. He could make a lunge into turn 17, but he won't have to. He's gonna pass him with flying colors here to take P11, which would be good for 2 points. 9 seconds behind Binky. I don't see that being a possibility for him, but you never know. 8 laps, including this one for Marijuanizer. Actually, no, 8 laps, including this one. He'd have to lap around 2 seconds ahead of Binky. Let's take a look at Race Director. Let's see what times they're putting together. Why not? Marijuanizers are the one who decided to pit twice to make it interesting. Binky. So Binky's lap times, his most recent lap time is a 140.8, 142, 42.3, 43.2. So 140.8 for Binky, and Marijuanizer. Let's see what he's running. Ooh, a 142.6, 142.2. So, ooh, let me just double check that. That's a really fast lap time for Binky on 2 seconds? That doesn't make sense. Huh. But if we're going off of lap 15 through 19, Marijuanizer would have, a second after 2 seconds on Binky to make that move. So that's a battle. Maybe he'll be in striking distance on. Binky's also making a run for Brutus. Binky does have a time penalty. What is it? 3 seconds. 3 seconds is the penalties issued so far. Penalties to Wicks, Brutus, Binky, JC, and Atlanta fan, who courageously made his Formula X debut from NASCAR today. Very proud of him. As we're heading to lap 23. Monster has found a little bit of pace, and Arnie's been struggling a bit. Monster, that gap's down to 1.7. It was at 3 a few laps ago. Let's have a look. I wonder if Arnie had a moment. I'm sure he had a moment, because now Arnie's trying to find that lap time again. And that dry line is starting to dry up. I don't think we're supposed to get a dry I don't think we're supposed to have any sunshine, but you know, if the sun came out now and the rain all of a sudden stopped, there'd be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There'd be 6 racing laps, and it would be right on the margin of going to the slicks. It is still raining, so that's not really something we're going to look at. I think everyone would stay on the slick on the inters. But if the sun did come out now, it would be interesting because these inters are indeed worn, and running inters on a dry track would definitely be would definitely increase that tire day, and then you would possibly be in that territory of a puncture. We're gonna hop on board with Binky as he starts his 24th lap, gets into turn 1, trying to fight Brutus. He's made up some time on him. He's now within a second. And the gap behind him, Marijuanas was cutting into it, but it's not going to be enough to be in striking distance. He would have to find only 5 to 6 seconds because Binky does have the 3-second time penalty as he comes around a little slow into turn. Ooh, really slow into that turn. Turn, I think it's 11. I don't know. There's so many turns that aren't really turns. So he's falling back a little bit, but he's finding that pace once again, going down into turn 14, turn 11. Going around turn 12, keeping it neat and tidy. Binky, go 3rd gear if you're listening to this. Want to take that in 3rd gear, dude. But what do I know? I suck at this game. Heading down the start-finish stretch. And that gap to Momster and Arnie has grown again. It was down to a 1.5 seconds, and Arnie's found the pace again, and Rod has a 5-second lead at this point. Oh. Only one DNF, which was a voluntary DNF by Puck, who DNF'd in the pit lane per regulation, so he decided to park it. And the field, once again, pretty spread out. Closest battle we have is Binky and Brutus, which could definitely turn into something. We'll take a look at Rod Montero here as he is about to start lap 26 after this final sequence of corners. Has a lapped runner behind him that looks like it would be blue car. Looks like JC. JC will be obliged to get out of the way once Arnie's within a second of him, and it looks like he's about 3 seconds behind him. So before the race is done, as lap 26 starts here, 4 laps to go here in Miami, Florida, at the Hard Rock Stadium. Oh, let's go back down to Binky. Binky looks like he's found some pace on Brutus, and he lost it. But they are that gap is yo-yoing. Binky seeming to struggle a bit in the corners, but then taking off on the straight. So that's definitely a setup differential, because we're going to see him here down in the start-finish straight, and that 1.3 gap dwindles down to 1.2, 1.1, 1 second. It's going to be within a second. And then once they get down into turn 17, Brutus finds that time again right there, back up to 0.8. But Binky trying to get an additional 2 points. No, 1 point, excuse me. So as a reminder, we are bringing ECRL TV back. Braden, insert pseudonym here, should be joining me eventually doing the play-by-play comment, and I'll be doing the color commentary. Should be fun. We haven't done this since Silverstone of Season 3. We stopped because of Monza, which was a holocaust to some. I remember that was the first overtake I actually had on merit. I think I overtook Vitality that race, as Binky once again finds that straight line speed, gets that gap down to 6 seconds. If he can keep it together here, and Brutus looks like he gets up on the curb and almost hits the wall at turn 12. Going into turn 14, 15, 16, Binky's actually right on his gearbox. Binky might be able to make a move here. They head down the backstretch. Binky finding a bunch of time. Now Binky's going to be able to get by him easily. I wonder if Brutus had a little bit of damage there. As I was going to my spiel about ECRL TV coming back, all of a sudden I look and I see a Mercedes in the... Oh, yeah. That car's moving slowly. The gas light is on. In spectator mode, the telematics aren't always accurate. For example, if a yellow flag comes out or safety car comes out, the yellow flag just stays on even when the yellow flag has gone green. His gas light is on, and his engine doesn't seem to be cutting out. I wonder if he has front wing issues, because Binky is now taken off. He's 3 seconds off the road, and he'll handedly have P9 in hand. Oh. Well, our next closest battle up the road is going to be Lucas. And it looks like the rain has stopped, but it's lap 28, so there's no reason to pit. Only person that really could pit, well, no one really should pit because they're about to start the final lap. Where's Rod? So Rod's on lap 28. This is lap 27 for Lucas and Coquito. Lucas, Coquito's rolling the dice here. Coquito is going to roll the dice here. He's going to pit. It looks like he's going to pit onto slicks. Why you do that on lap 28, I don't know. It doesn't look like they're changing his wing. He's going to go onto the mediums for a 2-lap Sunday drive, I guess. Not really sure what was going on there. But hey, yeah, Brutus DNF. He must have hit that wall a little too hard and had some issues. But Lucas, P4, he has podiumed a couple times here in Formula X. As Lucas, 5th place runner. 4 top 5s, no podiums yet. And being 29 seconds behind, that podium won't happen today. But he has definitely qualifying P3, finishing P4. And if you finish P4, and the 3 drivers in front of you are Momster, Arnie, and Rod, that's a net win. Formula X behind him. Formula X qualified P6, I believe, up to P5. Not really in striking distance, as we'll go on to Rod Montero, who has won a race before in Formula X this season. Has been on the losing end of many steward decisions, but had a decently clean race today. Win number 2, cutting into that gap with Arnie and Momster ahead of him. But that gap today in Miami has only been held by him. No gap to carve into for Rod Montero today. 3 corners of this race were led by Momster. The rest by Rod Montero in his debut race for the Bull Moose Red Bull team. Rod, the 15-year-old Mexican, football-loving Red Bull driver, will coming to the final 3 corners of this Miami Grand Prix. It wasn't easy for him, but he made it look easy. Rod Montero coming around to the start-finish stretch will get win number 2 of the season and win the Miami Grand Prix. Rod Montero, in his debut race with the Bull Moose Red Bull team, wins the Miami Grand Prix. Arnie and Momster will round out the podium. Momster started on pole, lost the lead at turn 11 of lap 1 in the Miami Grand Prix. Arnie overtook him shortly after, but Momster still hangs on to the podium, and now we have a tie at the top of the table in Formula X at the halfway point of the season. Lucas in the Ferrari takes P4. Wicks finds a spot from the P6 he qualified, finishes P5. Coquito was P4, decided to pit. Controversial strategy decision by Alpine, but I digress. Axeletti and DJ, a hard-earned P8. He had Marijuanizer up his ass. He had Brutus up his ass. He had YRB12 fan up his ass. But he held on to P8. He took his elbows out, and a very clean drive for the Ferrari driver in his second race with Ferrari. Binky benefited from the misfortune of JC11, 12, whatever, Brutus. As Brutus hits the wall in turn 12, causing him to DNF, and that was to Binky's benefit. Rounding out the last 2 points places is... Give me a second, because I don't remember off the top of my head. I think it was Marijuanizer. Yep. Fastest lap also goes to Momster. Good for him. Binky, the most overtakes. Great drive by him. DJ on the beat. Driver of the day every day. I'm so proud of that guy. Well, P10's Marijuanizer. He pitted for another set of inters, and it worked out well for him. JC11 for 11 and a YRB 12 fan will take the last 2 point places. Atlanta fan, in a valiant effort in his Formula X debut, gets a P13. Doesn't finish last because QRL Brutus DNFs in the pit lane after a big whack onto turn 12, and then Puck voluntarily retires in the pit lane. For the ECRL and Formula X, I'm Muno Cinco, Corey and Ayat. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week as we race in wherever the next race is. Formula X schedule right here, Miami. Oh, we're way more than halfway. I don't know why I said that. We'll see you in Mexico. Good night.